So Anita, just speaking about governance within the family business space, I want you to just talk about the why, the what, and the how. When you're considering governance within the family enterprise or the family system space, what are those things that you should consider um, in that respect? So Anita, if you could join us, that would be fine. I can't see you. I can't hear you.
Yes, I'm here. So thank you, Mercy, for inviting me. And it was wonderful to meet the other participants. So thank you very much indeed. Before I start, Mercy, can you give me an indication of time? Because I know that we're time limited and I don't want to overrun I can talk about this all day, every day. So you know how much time
Okay, so Anita, you have the next 10 minutes. So by five, so you have the next 10 minutes to kind of just walk us through the why, the what, and the how when it comes to family business governance and any trends and dynamics that you have encountered. Yeah.
So I'm going to talk in a way that makes sense, that is what I believe in. As an experienced family business entrepreneur, I've run my own family business. I've run 4 family businesses and now have one with my daughter. I'm also an accredited, advanced, certificated family business wealth advisor and family business advisor. So I just want to lay my stall out there. And I'm quite old. I'm 66 this year. So I've had some life. I have experienced life, you know, the good, the bad, and the insane, really. So let's get cracking. I think that before we start on governance, my contribution is going to be that it is part of a bigger picture, because the speakers we've had before have been very, very focused, expert at what they do, and that's quite right. But as a practitioner, it's all about life. And what I would say, first of all, are quite fundamental things. One is, you can always get another business, you cannot get another family. The other is this: as sure as eggs is eggs, there is going to be tax and death. And the third thing is that you have to know why you're in it. So that's really, really important. So before we talk about governance, I just want to say that the 6 essential ingredients to the success of a family business that is looking to the next generation are, firstly, 1, stewardship and responsibility to wealth. What do you, from your perspective as a next gen, as a senior, as a second, a third, fourth, 20th generation, what do you see as your responsibility? Not with your parents, not anyone else. What is your responsibility to wealth? And how can you be a steward? Because if we're talking about family business, we're talking about the future. We're not going to build it and sell it and flog it. We're actually thinking about the next generation, because that's what stewardship's about. The other is governance. Yes, it's very, very important to understand governance, but I don't like that word particularly. I would rather say policies that contribute to governance, because your policies will determine the governance you have. And those policies are determined by your values. Why are we doing
fantastic?
Okay. The third will be around leadership, because there can only be one leader. So, you know, a lot of discussion around leadership. Who is the next leader? We've seen that with Succession on Sky, and we've seen it with Yellowstone and many others. So leadership is very, very important. The next is conflict and communication. We know that the only things that prevent a family business going to the next generation are 2 things. One is communication, the other is governance. Okay, but
the lack thereof.
The lack thereof of communication about the things that are uncomfortable. Okay, we're talking about money, relationships, families, connections. So conflict, and how do we manage those conflicts? And communication we set up from the very, very beginning. Or how do we decide to mend and build on what we have got so that we don't have to start from scratch? Because, you know, my job is to meet people where they are. The next is going to be around succession, because there will always be succession. We will all die, you know. It's so that how prepared are we to prepare our next generation or the next generation of leaders? And they may be family, but they also may be non-family. You know, it happens a lot because we only know what we don't know, you know, we only know what we know. And the other is, of course, we're talking about families of considerable wealth. So what part does a family office play in this? What type of family office is it? Is it one that moderates and manages? But does it also include meeting other family businesses to arrange enterprises to do business? Is it reaching out to institutions? And what part does it play in the development of the next generation? Okay. So they're really the main things that I think are the essentials for any family business. And by hook or by crook, that's what I'm on this earth to do, is to help those, because I don't know if our viewers know, but roughly 30% of family businesses make it from G1 to G2 in the world. Only 12% make it from G2 to G3. Only 4% make it from G3 onwards. So that's a whole pile of responsibility there. That's a whole lot of money. That's a whole lot of economy. That's a whole lot of people's lives, you know, that are in that space. And you mentioned at the very beginning, between 70 and 80% of the GDP is provided by family-run enterprises, big and small. So I just want to start with that. Before we talk about governance, just one other thing, that business is personal, okay? And if we have a family business, we have to look after the family and business in equal measure. We often hear people say family first or business first. You know, it's up to you. And there isn't a right or one or wrong way, but people only join family business for 5 reasons. The name is above the door. They have a passion for the family business. They're aware that the family, it provides for the wealth of their parents, and it provides a wealth for themselves. And the last thing, 5 is the 5th one, is they can't get a job anywhere else. Now you can take that from a start, second gen, or a wealthy family business. Okay, it's all there. It's all there. It is a mishmash of stuff. Beware anyone that thinks they can solve it by having the right legal structures, right financial structures. It just doesn't work there. We have to know why we're doing this. What are our values? So the story is often very lost. So the story of our ancestors, what sacrifices they made, what innovations did they do, all right? Because by the 3rd generation, they're very, very often forgotten because of what's going on at the moment. So governance. Governance really, to me, is as a result of communication. What do we think of the things we talked about? That goes into governance, all right? And I would suggest then there is a family constitution, but I would prefer to call it a blueprint. And I like easy peasy language. I'm not an academic, so I can't be blinded by anachronisms and expert speak. It doesn't speak my language. So I always implore experts to speak in a language that anyone can understand, because otherwise we switch off, particularly the next gen. All right, they can get everything from Google. They can network around it's a global village now. All right, so don't think for 1 minute, as a family, it is fenced. It's not. It's not. It's not. All right. So there were 2 elements you wanted me to talk about. One was family council and family business. And I've always tried to encourage my family businesses to be more of a business family than a family business. Okay. Now, the reason we have family councils is because the business of the family just gets on with it. It's a business. It's got to make profits. It's got to, you know, grow. It's got to pay, you know, and it's got to develop and train and dan. Okay. So you can't be emotionally involved in the business. And very often, if it's not separated by having a family council, the board meetings can just disintegrate into a mush of stuff that's got nothing to do with business and everything to do with why you don't get on with each other. So the council is set up whereby the family members from around the world, wherever they are, whichever generations, you appoint just maybe a handful. Maybe there may be, I don't know, between the smaller the group, the better it is. And it's not for me to decide, it's for the family to decide. Key members in the family that can come together, that understand the values, understand where the family business is going, understand what's important, to ensure that the business follows in those footsteps. All right. And then appoint one person that straddles between the council and the business. Okay. And can report back. All right. The council's job is to ensure that the business adheres to the values, the legacy, the vision of what the family want. All right. So that's quite hard to do because, you know, if it's your baby and if it's your sister or if it's your cousin or if it's your mum, if your dad, everyone wants to be in the council. But the other good thing about the council is that there can be places assigned for people within their council to do specific things. So in the council, there might be someone looking after next generation development, philanthropy, training, networking, communication, and so forth. Because again, all of that working together adds for good communication and takes out the I didn't know, I didn't think, I thought that, I misread. Okay. The family assembly is for the whole family. And that means that if you have a big family, like some people have family assemblies because they've got the same name and they might be Irish and it might be the O'Briens meet every 10 years and the family get together, you know, and meet each other. But the assembly really is for all of the family members to participate. And its role is to be a family, get to know each other, understand what's happening in the business, because at the end of the day, they will benefit. Okay? Because the biggest disease in a family business is entitlement. I hope you'll agree. Entitlement is a huge, huge problem. Okay? If you haven't earned it, why are you entitled? So stewardship's really important. So family assembly allows the family council to talk to the family assembly about what's going on with the business, what's happening in the economy, what's happened with next gen, what are the trends, what are the roles that are available for family members to be involved? How does a shareholding work? What do you have to do to become a shareholder? Because don't forget, there are 3 parts to this, aren't there? There is your perspective as a family owner, but you might not work in the business. There is perspective for somebody that's in the business and an owner. And there is somebody that works in the business but doesn't own any shares. All right. So I like the word perspectives very much because it's about listening to people's perspectives, not telling them how they need to do it right. So really, that's my view on governance. It's much, you know, it's about education, it's about life, it's about legacy, the story. How do you want to leave the world a better place? I really believe in wealth generation, because I believe the more money you earn, the bigger the impact you can make on the world. As you mentioned about Warren Buffett, a family business, and you know, of course we've got Richard Branson, a family business, the JCBs of the world. You know, they can do so much for so many people that have so little. But then also as an internet, as a tech-based economy, things they are changing very fast, very quickly, and you cannot disregard that for the next generation. You know, there are some family businesses who are determined that I built this business for you, you are coming into it, whether you like it or not. But Dad, I don't want to be in the building industry. I'd like to have to be a ballet dancer. You know, Mum, I really, really want to set up another business, but I want to make it a business that's in That's in esports. Fine. Do the research, find it out. Maybe part of our governance is that we do sponsor new ideas and innovation. And this is a criteria from which you can go and get that help. So it is a huge, huge thing. And there is no one starting point. So I start with 6. And also my pillars for family business are not in any business textbook. Okay. And those are love, kindness. When was the last time you as a business owner were kind to yourself? All right. Because everyone wants you. Agility, the agility to be able to change, the flexibility for the new economy. And more so, this is just the beginning, don't forget. Creativity. And that, I mean, how can you, you have to be able to think creatively about problems, think creatively about ideas, think creatively about the family. Passion, that's your why. Why do you have a passion? If you haven't got a passion, get out. Get out of here. Get out of the city. Get out of Dodge. You don't have passion for it. The other is joy. If you don't have joy in your life, then what is the point? All right? You don't have joy. And the other really is grit. Determination, grit, to be here and see it all through. They are major things that you don't see in a textbook and a business book. In my experience, that's been the hardest thing, particularly for men in family businesses, because they're the hunters. They're the ones that got all the, you know, they've got the power, etc. The women are coming into their own. They're coming into their own because they are aware of the things that nurture love, kindness, and all the things I've said. But they're not soft skills. It's crap. I hate that. They're essentials. They're essentials. Be kind to someone. When were you kind to yourself? All right? Treat someone how you want to be treated. Make sure you surround yourself with people that share your values. Make sure you surround your people with people that know more than you do. So are experts. It's really important. But at the heart are, understand why we're here, what are our values, before we even look at governance, assemblies, la, la, la. So I hope that expresses different perspective on this, because, you know, we need fantastic expertise, but we don't start with that. There you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anita. So I will just go back to Anita as we round up, and I'll ask Anita to just let us know, give us your concluding, you have about 1 minute, give us your concluding comments, and let us know if there are any trends and dynamics that you want to highlight for family businesses and individuals and families that are on the call today.
So two things.
Yes.
Family businesses, the ability to really listen to everyone in the family, listen to the older generation, listen, the older ones to the next generation, listening, but not hearing, listening. That's the first thing. The second is to be agile enough to take on what things are going to be thrown at us in this new world, because it's faster, it's faster, it's faster. So this ability to be agile and know and to understand what it might take for us to do those things and be successful for the next generation. And thirdly is be the change you want to see in the world. There you go. That's from me.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Anita. Yeah, so that brings us to the conclusion of this session.